My Tongue's Meat is the 15th episode of the third season of 2.5 Men. This is directed by Gary Halvorson, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. And it's a brilliant episode with some really great moments in it. And it starts off with Jake talking to Alan about the death penalty, and he declares that he wants his last meal to be cereal, which is fair enough. Charlie and Mia then come in from a run. Mia looks absolutely fine. Charlie is out of breath and struggling. And when Mia goes into the shower, Charlie tells Alan that he's obviously in love with Mia, but he feels like there's something eating away at him, something that tells him that there's something about this he doesn't like. And Alan tries to tell him to think about not what he's giving up, such as the cigar and the drinking, but what he's getting out of the relationship, which in general is a healthy way to think of things, but Charlie is having to basically completely change his lifestyle. He then tells Mia he's going for a power walk, and instead we see him sitting in the garage, smoking cigars and drinking beer. Jake then sees him and blackmails him, and he blackmails him for $20. Now, I don't condone blackmail at all, but if you're going to blackmail your rich uncle, at least make it worthwhile. $20, obviously, to Jake, that's a lot of money. But Jake is going to keep Charlie's secret, and then Evelyn comes over, and Alan kind of breaks down and tells Evelyn that Mia is actually in the kitchen because Evelyn is unhappy that she's never met Mia. And Evelyn goes through the kitchen as Alan says, "Thank gee I didn't know Anne Frank," which is a little awkward. And Evelyn then confronts Mia. And it seems like it's going to be a bit of a standoff. But once Mia says that she is trying to change Charlie, or fix Charlie, I believe is the phrase that Evelyn used, they have a hug. And it's a little awkward because we know that Alan and Charlie have issues with Evelyn, with how she looks down her nose at some of their choices and things. And then we see Evelyn and Mia bonding. It kind of gives the indication that maybe Mia has a very similar attitude towards some of Charlie's decisions, which isn't great. And considering I'm not a fan of Mia, I never have been, I didn't exactly love her in that moment. Berta then comes into the garage and catches Charlie, and she tries to help him out with some lemon pledge. And then a little later on, Mia calls down to Charlie that they're going out to the vegan restaurant, and Charlie takes the opportunity to go out on the deck, call for Rose, who throws him up a bag of meat. I think it was burgers, if I remember correctly. And obviously the fact that Charlie is now not even allowed to eat meat, it seems like these are a lot of really big changes. And it seems a little bit unfair because what is Mia giving up, or what is Mia... Basically, what has Mia done for Charlie? Charlie has done everything that she has asked. What has she done for him? Where has she met him halfway? I get no indication of that. And we're then at the restaurant. And basically, I was going to say I lost all faith in Mia. I never really had any faith in her to begin with. But there are a few things here that I don't like. She tells Charlie that she agrees with Evelyn that Charlie could do more with his life. And apparently writing jingles for adult diapers isn't good enough. Yet this could be a good time to remind ourselves that he pays for his beach house with the money he has from jingle writing. So how can that not be good enough if you're able to afford this lavish lifestyle? That to me seems like a big success. And then she goes from loving, supporting girlfriend to basically angered parent. That's the vibe I'm getting off here. Disappointed parent when she says, "I smell meat." And she accuses Charlie of eating meat. And her tone was just disgusting. And then Charlie confesses. He confesses everything. The meat, the cigars, the beer. And he says, "I'm a grown man, not a work in progress." I absolutely love that quote because it perfectly sums up how Mia has been treating Charlie pretty much from day one. Now, in Mia's defense, she did make it very clear that she wasn't interested in Charlie way back in the beginning, and Charlie was the one who kept trying to pursue her. So in her defense, Charlie was the one who was determined to make this relationship work, and she just finally, I guess, relented. But we're now at a point where she's just not a very nice person. And as Charlie points out, she's trying to change him, and Charlie gives this really great speech to the entire restaurant, or basically to every man in the restaurant. And he says, why can't a woman look at a guy for who he is rather than who she can turn him into? And I think that that's so important, and both ways, and anyway, of course. Basically, why can't you value somebody for who they are rather than who you want them to be? And that's exactly what we have with Mia. She's thinking of Charlie as the version she wants him to be, not the person he is, and that's never going to be a healthy relationship. Mia didn't do anything to become the version of herself that Charlie wanted her to be, so why should Charlie do anything in turn? Needless to say, I don't like Mia. I think she's a horrible person. We then cut to Jake, who is still talking about death row, and Charlie comes back from his date with Mia, but it's been several days. He has been out in Vegas the entire time. And then Rose comes over to introduce her new boyfriend, Gordon, played by J.D. Walsh. But as soon as she finds out that there was this fight between Charlie and Mia, she kind of pushes Gordon aside. And then we cut to a little while later, and Charlie is telling Jake that he thinks he made a mistake. And we kind of realise the situation he's in, where he doesn't want to call her because he'll just be back to pretending he is being somebody he isn't. But at the same time, he can't stop thinking about her. He doesn't want to let her go, and he's kind of stuck between these difficult choices. In the end, he goes round to her house, and she's not there, but her flatmate, Ginger, played by Jackie Debatin, is there. Mia has actually left a note saying she's gone to New York, and this bit I admired so much, because Charlie immediately gets on the phone to call the airport to book a flight to New York. And the reason I admired this is because so many times in films and sitcoms, particularly before the invention of the mobile phone, characters would rush to the airport to try and get on a quick flight to confess their love or stop somebody doing something, but they'd never book a ticket in advance. They're going all that way, and the last ticket might sell before they get there, but Charlie had the foresight to phone ahead and try and get a ticket before he left. And it's just so rare to see some logical thinking in this kind of scenario. But Charlie actually doesn't end up booking the ticket because he realises that Ginger might be somebody he'd rather spend time with. She gambles, she eats meat, she's definitely a lot more relaxed than Mia is. And it was a nice enough way to end the episode. I really enjoyed this one, largely because it's really nice to see Charlie finally standing up to Mia and realising that actually she's just not a very nice person, at least within the context of the relationship. She might be nice to other people, but she's not been treating Charlie very nice at all. And I think it's a decent episode. My tongue is meat. Might not be one of the funniest. I didn't laugh out loud too much, but I did find it to be very interesting. I really enjoyed Charlie as a character in this, and ultimately, I thought it was pretty decent.